Hi, I'm Allie. Join me as I show you how to do this Montee Beaded Bead necklace with RounDuo Minis and RounDuos. If you need any Montees or RounDuos, look below the video in the description. We'll put links there to get back to our site. Gather up your supplies and let's get started. All right, so I love beaded beads. I love the way that they look, the complexity that they add. There's so many different ways to do them. And I'm choosing here to work with Montees as well as RounDuo Minis and RounDuo for the bigger size. It's the exact same pattern, you just change the size of the bead that you're using. So we're gonna go over how to create this beaded bead, and then I'm gonna show you how to string them as well. To begin, we have size 8 dragon thread in the white color, and I'm first doing a mini duo beaded bead. So we're going to do the smaller of the two. Again, the exact same thing. To begin, we are going to add, and this is going to be a series of right angle weave, 4 of our RounDuo Minis in our white color, and we are making sure that we follow each one of those with one 15-0 seed bead. I'm going to let that drop back to the bottom of about 4 feet of thread, and then we're going to tie it into a knot. Now, I don't worry too much about this having a knot versus a starter or a stop bead because there's so much going on with the beaded bead that you're not going to see that extra little knot in there. Once you have the knot, I like to take my needle and thread through the next one of my RounDuos, because we stopped with an 11-0 seed bead, so we take it through the RounDuos. I'm going to bring the camera in a little bit so you can see this a little bit more in action. We're going to pick up an 8-0 seed bead. Now, if you are doing this with RounDuos, you're going to want to switch your 15 to a size 11. However, with the RounDuo Minis, we're using the 15, and then you're still doing this 8-0 seed bead along the side. We're going to go from the first hole to the second hole of that first RounDuo Mini, adding an 8-0 seed bead, basically, that's hanging out on the sides of that RounDuo Mini. After you come out the top of the RounDuo Mini, go through the 8-0 seed bead and down and out through that 8-0 seed, or through that RounDuo Mini. We're going to do our next right angle weave. Now, I don't want to confuse you. We're going to build the right angle weave base, and then we're going to go in and embellish with the Montee. If you know right angle weave, feel free to embellish with the Montee right away, which is going to be a 15 on each side of your Montee, and we're crisscrossing along the bottom. Here, we'll do the next one where we do that, so you can see that in action. We're going to add a 15, a RounDuo Mini, a 15, RounDuo Mini. So we're going to end up with 3 more RounDuo Minis and a 15 before and after each. We're coming out of the bottom of that last RounDuo Mini, and we're going to go into this side there, into the top, so it circles around into your next right angle weave unit. Now we're going to go over to the side, going over them through the first 15, through the first RounDuo Mini, give a nice tight pull. And here's where we're going to do our embellishment. If you want to wait to do the embellishment, go ahead and go through the 15, the RounDuo Mini, and do your 8-0s. Coming out the bottom of our RounDuo Mini through that first hole, we haven't done anything in the second hole, you're going to grab a 15, a Montee, and a 15. This Montee that I'm using is the SS16 size. You can, for the bigger one, if you want to, bump it up to the SS20. Once you have the Montee on and a 15 on either side, and the Montee's going straight through the back there, it has a crisscross grid, you're going straight through that crisscross. Your thread's coming out the bottom right, you're going to go into the top left. Again, still through that first hole. What that's going to do is get your Montee to lay on the diagonal, which mirrors the way that the thread goes along the back. Coming out that RounDuo Mini, add another 15-0 seed bead. Go through the Montee in the opposite direction, because whenever you're looking at the Montee, it has that cross section along the back. You can see that I'm holding the Montee so that my crystal is facing up. Add a 15 and go through the bottom RounDuo from left and then back out to the right. So basically you just made a figure 8, exiting here, going up, figure 8ing around, and then coming back out. Now we're going to go over to the rightmost bead, that rightmost RounDuo Mini. I'm going to come out through that, having gone through the 15 and then that first interior hole. add my 8 seed bead to the top, going into hole number 2, add my seed bead 8 to the bottom, going into hole number 1, get back over to the right side hole of that last RounDuo Mini, and now we're ready to make another connection point. I want you to make another right angle weave unit with the Montee and then go ahead and stop. Want a monthly dose of inspiration while stocking up on your beading supplies? Potomac Beads Treasure Box is a monthly subscription where you can save up to 60% off new and exciting materials. Every month, you'll receive an assortment of unique and exclusive beads in a variety of colors and shapes. Whether you're a beginner or an accomplished beader, the Treasure Box will inspire you to create unique projects for yourself and to gift to others. Unleash your creativity with a Treasure Box subscription. Visit PotomacBeads.com/subscriptions today or click on the link below in the description to get links to get back to our website. Now that you have your third unit done, your second decorated unit, again, you could have decorated the first one too. We'll go back and do that. We're going to link the two sides together. We are going to make this right bead here actually connect to this left bead here. What's going to happen then is it's going to round out almost into a circle, a 4-sided circle here. And we are adding to the top a 15, a RounDuo Mini, and a 15. Our thread is coming out the top of that last RounDuo Mini. If it's coming out the bottom, that's fine too. Whatever side it's going into, you want to go into that side of the bead on the opposite side. So you can see here I've added my 15 RounDuo Mini 15. I'm coming out the top of the rightmost bead. I'm going into the top of the leftmost bead. Bringing that view then to the back, you can see that that's starting to bring that into a rounded shape here. I'm going to add a 15, a RounDuo Mini, and a 15 to the thread. And then I'm going to go into that first RounDuo that was on the right that my thread was coming out of. So we've added basically a top and a bottom to that right angle weave unit. And I'm going to pull it to see that close up. See how you've got that next unembellished unit. So the first embellished unit was the first one that we did. The second one is the last one. I'm going to go through the next 15 and the next RounDuo Mini, which lays at the top. Give a nice tight pull for those two connectors. If you need to, you can take a mandrel or something like that and put it in the middle if that helps you to stabilize it. I'm going to then take a 15, a Montee, and a 15. And going from the top right, I'm going to go to the bottom left. And just through the RounDuo Mini on that diagonal with the Montee going into place. Coming out there out of 15, go through the second hole of the Montee. When you're working with them, you'll be able to tell whether or not you're through that second hole or whether or not you're just kind of along the back. You'll easily realize that. Add another 15 and then go into that first RounDuo Mini from the opposite direction. So you get that nice X effect. I'm going to go down into the bead along the right there of that RounDuo Mini, down through one of those connector beads. I'm going to take it off because I think it's easier to work with off, but you may want it on the dowel. Go in and add your 8 OC beads along the top and side, or top and bottom rather, of that RounDuo Mini, just like we've been doing. So when you look at it from the top, you should have 4 of your 8 OC beads that are opposite your RounDuo Minis. We still need to decorate over here, so we're going to go through the 8, through the RounDuo Mini. So much to learn and so much variety that you can do with these beaded beads. In through the 15 and out through that top RounDuo Mini. When I'm out through that top RounDuo Mini, I'm going to add my last of my Montees. 15, that says 16 Montee. 15, I'm coming out the top right, I'm going to go into the bottom left. Still through that first hole, we haven't gone into the second hole of the top and bottom RounDuo Minis of the units at all. Add a 15, go through that second crisscross hole. Add a 15, go through the top RounDuo Mini from left to right, and a nice tight pull. From here, we are going to step up. So we're finally going from the bottom hole to the top hole of the top and bottom RounDuo Minis. We're going to start at the top here, and I want you to simply take your thread and needle through the top hole of the RounDuos and through the 8 OC beads that sit in between them. So you're going the whole way around here. Just kind of push that starter thread out of the way. Once you're the whole way around through all of them, we are going to make sure that our thread and needle exits out of one of the 8 OC beads. Once you're exiting the 8 OC beads, we are going to build our bead even more. If you don't want to build your bead even more, just simply sew over to the opposite side and sew through the 8s and the RounDuo Minis, and then you are finished. If you want to make it look even more grand with some of the same crystals as the Montee on the outside, and you can do both too. Lots and lots of options here. You are going to, coming out of the 8, add 1 and 2 15s, followed by a 3mm crystal, 1 and 2 15s. Whichever way your thread is coming out of the 8, go into the next 8 after adding that series of 5 beads. You're doing this all 4 times along the sides, adding beads and going into the 8 OC bead. Once you finish this, and you'll notice I'm not pulling super tight, I'm not making it so that my thread is really kind of seen. I'm just kind of pushing the beads back towards the interior, pulling the thread a little bit, adding my last group here of beads, go into that first 8-0. Once you're in that first 8-0, then what I want you to do is step up so that your thread is coming out of the first 3mm bicone, meaning you're going through the 2 15s that lead up to that bicone and out the bicone. Now simply grab a 15, sew through the next bicone, grab a 15, sew through the next bicone, grab a 15, sew through the next bicone, grab the 15, through the next bicone. Give this a nice tight pull, because this is where my thread is going to go through, or your cord, if you want to put them on a cord. You're going to sew through all of these beads one more time. Think of your beaded bead edge as like the center of your Rivoli. If you're bezeling that, you want to make sure to put extra thread through there. Once you've gone the whole way around a second time, you're going to bring your needle and thread back through the beads, through the 2 15s that are after one of the bicones, through the RounDuo that's next to it, back through the RounDuo the opposite way, through the 15 that's underneath, through the opposite side of the RounDuo. And guess what? You're in place now to do the exact same thing on this side. So I'm going to let you go do the exact same thing. Go through the 8s, go through the second hole of the RounDuos, and then add in your seed beads and your crystals in that netting form, and then pair it together. Remember, with these YouTube videos, you can always go back to and start that section over on the opposite side and watch that again. Also, if you ever struggle, make sure to comment, because we look at those and that helps us make the video better for you. After completing this second side of the beaded bead, and you can see how pretty it is here. One thing, if your beaded bead is a little bit squashy, you definitely want to use the dragon thread size 8 with this, because it does have, you do need kind of that thickness of the thread to go through. If you say, oh, it's just kind of squashing a little bit, go in and you can rerun your thread through that middle of the second hole of the RounDuo Minis and the 8-0s. With the size 8 thread, you should not have any issues whatsoever. After coming out of one of the bicones here, what I'm going to do to finish this beaded bead off is to get my thread and needle back to the opposite side. So just like we did, kind of going over here, so that way I could decorate this side, is I'm just taking my thread and needle back along the same thread path. So back along through these same beads, down along to the other side. I just kind of look and see where it is. What I do is try to go in and tie off the thread so you don't see any extra thread. and have it kind of be hidden next to a lighter bead. Now with this pattern, it's really easy because all the beads are kind of that lighter bead. I'm going to take my thread here, knot those thread ends, and then get out my thread burner and burn those thread ends very tightly next to the design. I made 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 of my smaller beaded beads and then 1 of the bigger beaded bead. We're going to turn this into a necklace using some of a bigger bicone and some of my 11O seed beads. So remember, if you want to do the RounDuo Mini and have a bigger one, we stepped everything up one size. Went from RounDuo Mini to RounDuo, 15 to 8, SS16 to SS20. Everything else stays the exact same. As you're stringing the beaded beads, one thing to realize is that the beaded beads tend to have a fairly large hole. You can string them on some knotting cord, knot in between. I'm choosing to go with just beading cable, and I'm using my 6mm bicones to work as basically hole fillers or gap fillers in the design. After each of my beaded beads, I'm putting my 6mm bead, which I'll go tightly, and it looks like it's part of the beaded bead. It's beautiful. In between, I'm spacing it out a little bit because I like to see what is the detail of the beaded bead. If you put one beaded bead right next to the other, which you can certainly do, it gives you a different look. You lose some of that beaded bead look, though. It looks more like it's a tubular design. So I'm separating it out with 3 of my 11O seed beads, then 1 of my 3mm bicone followed by a 6. You also want to make sure when you are stringing through that you go the whole way through and not on an angle and out through one of the beads along the side, because that's very easy to do. Go in, put your next 6mm bead, and continue on with the look of creating your beaded bead. And look how that dangles like crazy. At the end, I'm just going to do a crimp bead with a simple lobster clasp at the end and finish up my Montee Beaded Bead necklace. To show this Montee Beaded Bead necklace, then you can see I switch out to a pretty clasp garden clasp that went so well with the Montee design, and just made it a nice simple 16, or you can do 18. You can add more beaded beads, keep them closer together, further apart, but I like the simplicity of this beaded bead design, and I hope you do too. Make sure if you make any changes to comment below, and also post your pictures of your Montee Beaded Beads in our Facebook group for beading and jewelry making. We would love to see the different color combos that you come up with. Thanks so much for joining me in creating this fun Montee Beaded Bead necklace. So many different versions and colors and ideas that you can hopefully springboard and create your own. If you haven't yet, hit that little subscribe button so you don't miss anything from us here at Potomac Beads. Remember, if you do need supplies, below the video, we always have links for you to get back to our website. As always, thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned for more inspirational designs.